Have you ever noticed how a man can go from being completely into you to suddenly acting distant, confused, or even afraid to move forward? One moment, he's looking at you like you're the only woman in the world. The next, he's quiet, he's pulling back, and you can feel that something inside him has shifted. It's not always because he stopped caring. In fact, many times, it's because he started to feel something he couldn't control. Fear. Not fear of you as a person, but fear of what being with you makes him feel. And that fear usually gets triggered by three very specific behaviors that most women don't even realize they're showing. They seem innocent, natural, even loving. But to a man's mind, especially one who's still trying to figure out his emotions, these behaviors touch the deepest layers of his psychology. They make him question himself, his value, and whether he's ready for the kind of emotional connection that your energy brings into his life. Every man has two versions of himself. The first is the confident one, the one who says he knows what he wants, who acts strong, and who tells you he's not afraid of love. The second is the hidden version, the one who panics when things get too real, who starts building emotional walls when he feels too seen, too understood, or too close to losing control. The moment he senses that a woman has the power to reach that second version, his instincts kick in. That's when he starts overthinking, pulling away, or even saying things that don't match how he truly feels. What most women don't know is that this reaction isn't always about rejection. It's about protection. When a man meets a woman who challenges him emotionally, who makes him feel vulnerable, or who awakens emotions he's been trying to suppress for years, he doesn't know what to do with that intensity. His heart wants to open, but his mind screams that it's dangerous. He starts imagining losing control, getting hurt, or being judged. That's when he begins to distance himself. Not because you did something wrong, but because you accidentally activated something deep inside him. You see, there are three behaviors that silently communicate to a man that you are not like the others, that you're emotionally aware, independent, and not easily manipulated. And as much as men say they want a strong woman, the truth is that many of them aren't ready to face one. Because strength in a woman doesn't scare him physically. It scares him emotionally. It forces him to confront his own weaknesses, his insecurities, and the parts of himself he thought he had under control. Maybe you've already noticed how some men start testing you when they feel you're too calm, too centered, or too sure of yourself. They'll say things to trigger your emotions, just to see if they can still affect you. They'll pull away to test if you'll chase them. They'll ignore you to see if you'll lose control. What they're really doing is trying to see how much power they still have, because deep down, they know that once they lose that power, they'll have to deal with their own fears instead of hiding behind your reactions. Understanding this changes everything, because once you recognize what these three behaviors are and how men subconsciously respond to them, you stop blaming yourself for their emotional confusion. You stop thinking, maybe I was too much, or maybe I scared him away. You start realizing that it wasn't your intensity that pushed him away. It was his fear of what your presence awakened inside him. In this video, we're going to uncover the three exact behaviors that make a man feel both drawn to you and terrified at the same time. You'll understand why even confident men can start acting distant, why their words stop matching their actions, and why they suddenly seem unsure about something that felt so right before. And more importantly, you'll see how these behaviors are actually signs of your strength, not your mistakes. Because when you understand how a man's mind works, you stop reacting to his fear and start owning your power. You stop chasing his comfort and start protecting your peace. You stop thinking that love means convincing him to stay and start realizing that real love only grows when both people are emotionally ready to face their fears together. So, if you've ever been told that you're intimidating, too emotional, or hard to handle, stay with me. Because by the end of this, you'll understand that what really scares him isn't your attitude, it's your depth. It's the fact that your presence demands honesty. Your energy demands growth, and your silence speaks louder than any words. And once you see what these three behaviors truly are, you'll never look at his fear the same way again. There was a woman named Claire, smart, grounded, and with that quiet confidence that didn't need to prove itself. When she met Ryan, she wasn't trying to impress him, and maybe that's what caught his attention first. He was used to women who tried too hard, who needed constant reassurance, who made him feel like the center of their world. But Claire was different. She didn't chase, she didn't beg, and she didn't fill every silence with words. And at first, that mystery pulled him in like gravity. Ryan told her he admired her independence, her calmness, her ability to stay centered even when things didn't go her way. He said it made him feel safe. But as the weeks passed, that same energy that once attracted him started to make him feel uneasy. He didn't understand it, but something about her confidence made him question his own. He'd start arguments out of nowhere, disappear for a few days, then come back acting like nothing happened. And Claire, instead of chasing or demanding explanations, just watched. Not out of indifference, but because she refused to lose her peace over someone else's confusion. One evening, Ryan confessed something to her. He said, "You make me nervous sometimes, not because you do anything wrong, but because I feel like you don't need me." It was an honest moment, and she realized that what he felt wasn't arrogance. It was fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being replaced. Fear of being with a woman who couldn't be controlled through attention or emotion. You see, when a man meets a woman who knows her value, it's like holding up a mirror to everything he's still insecure about. Her calmness shows him his anxiety. Her emotional control shows him his impulsiveness. Her clarity shows him his confusion. And that reflection, that truth, can be terrifying, especially for a man who's used to relationships that revolve around his rhythm, his moods, his emotional pace. Claire didn't do anything dramatic. She didn't play games or test him. But her natural way of being, calm, confident, consistent, brought out things in Ryan he didn't even know were buried inside him. He began to question why he felt so tense around her silence, why her lack of jealousy made him feel invisible, why her patience made him feel powerless, and most importantly, why her peace felt like a threat instead of a gift. The truth is, many men have never had to face a woman who doesn't react the way they expect. They're used to emotional chaos, to women who respond to their coldness with panic, to their distance with chasing, to their silence with questions. But when a woman refuses to play that game, when she stays grounded and chooses peace over reaction, it forces him to confront something deeper, his own emotional immaturity. That's why in so many relationships, the moment a woman starts showing behaviors that express real self-worth, not just in words but in actions, a man subconsciously begins to panic. He might not even realize what's happening. He'll say things like, "You've changed," or "You're acting distant," when in reality, she's just stopped proving herself. She stopped fighting for validation. And that shift, for a man who defines his worth by how much control he has, feels like losing oxygen. It's not about manipulation or games, it's about energy. When a woman's energy is grounded in self-respect, a man can feel it even before she speaks. And if he's not emotionally ready, that energy doesn't calm him, it exposes him. Because deep down, he knows he can't lead her the same way he could lead others. He knows she won't be impressed by empty promises or confused by mixed signals. She's not here to be chosen. She's here to connect. And that's a completely different kind of power. Ryan eventually told Claire something that summed it all up. He said, "Being with you feels like being seen for who I really am. And sometimes, that's hard. That's what most men won't admit. They're not afraid of being rejected. They're afraid of being exposed. They're afraid of the kind of woman who doesn't fall for potential but pays attention to actions. The kind of woman who doesn't compete for love but attracts it by being whole on her own. So when a man starts acting strange, distant, defensive, or suddenly confused, it's not always because he's lost interest. Sometimes it's because he's never felt this level of intensity before. And intensity doesn't always come from drama or words. Sometimes it comes from presence. The presence of a woman who's emotionally mature, who's healed enough to not chase pain, and who knows her silence has more power than any argument could. That's what Claire represented. A calm storm. A reminder that love doesn't mean losing yourself to prove your worth. It means standing so firmly in your truth that the wrong people get scared, and the right ones get inspired to rise to your level. And that's exactly why some men start to fear you. Not because you're hard to love, but because you remind them of the love they still haven't learned to give themselves. Now let's go deeper into what really happens inside a man's mind when he sees these three behaviors in you. These are not dramatic or loud things, they're subtle, they're calm, but they carry a kind of energy that makes him feel something he can't quite explain, something that challenges the way he sees himself, the way he defines power, and the way he understands love. The first behavior that scares a man is emotional independence. Most women think independence is about money or success, but to a man, emotional independence is something far more intimidating. It means you don't depend on him to feel happy, safe, or validated. You can enjoy his presence, but you don't need it to feel complete. And that shakes him, because so many men are used to being needed, not chosen. They're used to feeling powerful when someone depends on them. But when you show him that you can love him deeply and still walk away if he disrespects your peace, his mind can't categorize you. You're not predictable. You're not controllable. You represent freedom. And that's terrifying to someone who's never learned to love without control. Imagine this. He texts you less one day, expecting you to react, to ask questions, to chase him. But instead, you stay calm. You focus on your day. You match his energy without drama or confrontation. That moment for him feels like losing a kind of emotional power he didn't even know he was using. He realizes that your world doesn't stop for him, and that realization forces him to face a truth he's avoided. If he wants to keep you, he has to show up with effort, not just presence. That's when fear starts to grow. Not the kind of fear that makes him run, but the kind that makes him question himself. He starts asking, what if she really doesn't need me? What if I'm the one who needs her more? And for a man who's been taught that power means control, that kind of vulnerability feels dangerous. So he retreats, not to punish you, but to protect his ego from feeling weak. The second behavior that scares a man is when you set boundaries without guilt. You don't explain yourself endlessly. You don't beg to be understood. You don't stay quiet just to avoid conflict. You say what you mean calmly, and you mean what you say. That level of clarity is intimidating because it shows him that your self-worth doesn't depend on his approval. A woman with boundaries sends a silent message that says, you can be in my life, but only if you bring peace, not chaos. When he feels that, something inside him shakes. Because a woman with boundaries can't be emotionally manipulated. She won't tolerate inconsistency. She won't let words replace actions. And that forces him to step up or step out. For men who aren't used to accountability, that's terrifying. Not because you're too demanding, but because you're demanding the one thing he's been avoiding: emotional maturity. Boundaries test who a man truly is. If he respects them, he grows. If he resents them, he retreats. And here's the secret. When a man walks away from a woman who has strong boundaries, it's not rejection, it's a confession. He's admitting that he's not ready to meet her at her level. He's not ready to face the mirror she represents. Because every boundary you set tells him, I will not lower my standards to fit your comfort. And that truth hurts his pride more than silence ever could. The third behavior that scares a man is emotional calmness during chaos. This one is the most powerful. When he pulls away, when he tries to provoke a reaction, when he expects you to argue, cry, or beg, and instead you stay centered, it confuses him, because his entire emotional script collapses. Most men expect conflict to confirm importance. If you fight, it means you care. If you chase, it means they still have power. But when you don't react, when you let silence do the talking, he feels something he doesn't understand: accountability. Your calmness forces him to sit with his own discomfort. It exposes the parts of himself he's been running from: the guilt, the doubt, the fear of losing someone truly valuable. He realizes that he can't push your buttons because you've disconnected your peace from his behavior. You no longer react to his storms. You control your weather. And that's when he starts questioning himself, not you. He wonders if he's losing you, if he misjudged your emotions, if maybe he underestimated your strength. You see, calmness is the loudest response you can ever give. It's not silence from indifference, it's silence from wisdom. It says, I've learned that my peace is worth more than proving a point. And when a man feels that, he's not just scared, he's humbled. Because in that calmness he sees something rare. A woman who doesn't fight for attention, but attracts respect without even asking for it. These three behaviors, emotional independence, strong boundaries, and calmness, are not about power games. They're about alignment. They show a man that your emotions are not for sale, that your energy cannot be negotiated, and that your love is not conditional on how much attention he gives you. And ironically, these are the very traits that draw high-quality men closer, even though they scare the wrong ones away. Men fear what they can't control and respect what they can't shake. When you embody these three behaviors, you stop existing in his world as an option and start existing as a standard. He may resist it at first. He may pull away, overthink, or act confused. But deep down, he knows that what you represent is rare. A woman who can love without losing herself. And that's both frightening and magnetic. So when you see him acting distant after you've been calm, strong, and independent, don't mistake his fear for rejection. It's often admiration mixed with insecurity. It's him realizing that if he wants to keep you, he can't rely on charm, control, or comfort. He has to evolve. He has to match your peace. Because the truth is, men don't fear losing women who need them. They fear losing women who inspire them to be better, because deep down they know those are the women they might never replace. When you understand these three behaviors, something powerful happens, but something dangerous can happen too if you forget how they work. Because the moment you start doubting your calmness, your boundaries, or your independence, you begin to shrink yourself to fit a man's comfort zone. And that's when you lose not only him, you lose yourself. Many women don't realize how easily this shift happens. A man pulls away and suddenly the fear of losing him becomes louder than your self-respect. You start breaking your own rules just to keep him close. You respond faster. You apologize for things you didn't do. You over-explain your feelings to prove you're not angry. You think you're saving the connection, but you're really teaching him that he can cross your boundaries and you'll still stay. And once that lesson is learned, it's hard to unteach it. That's the danger of emotional compromise, and it looks like love, but it's actually fear in disguise. Every time you silence your intuition to protect his ego, you chip away at your self-worth. And slowly, without realizing it, you become the kind of woman who no longer scares him, because you've given up the parts of yourself that once did. And here's the truth. A man who's truly ready for you will never ask you to shrink. He might feel scared. He might need time, but he'll never expect you to dim your light to make him comfortable. The wrong men will always test you to see how far you'll go to keep them. But the right man will recognize your calmness as peace, your boundaries as clarity, and your independence as strength. You have to remember something most people forget. Fear and respect feel very similar in the beginning. When a man meets a woman who holds her power quietly, he feels both emotions at once. He's drawn in but cautious, intrigued but nervous. The difference is what he does next. A man who's not ready will let fear lead him. He'll distance himself, get defensive, or even try to make you feel guilty for being too much. But a man who's emotionally mature will let respect take over. He'll feel that same fear, but instead of running, he'll rise. And that's the moment you have to let the difference reveal itself. Don't chase him to prove you're safe. Don't explain yourself to make him stay. Let his actions show you who he really is. Because every time you wait in silence instead of reacting in fear, you make space for truth to appear. But here's what most women do wrong. They confuse emotional connection with emotional responsibility. They think, if he's scared, I can fix it. If I just show him how patient I am, how loving I am, he'll stop running. But fear doesn't disappear when you coddle it. It disappears when it's faced. And that's his job, not yours. You can love him, you can understand him, but you can't heal the part of him that's terrified of losing control. That's his work to do. And if you take that work away from him, if you make it your mission to prove that you're not a threat, you'll end up carrying both of your emotional weights. That's how resentment is born. That's how exhaustion replaces attraction. Because no matter how much love you give, it will never feel safe to a man who hasn't made peace with his own insecurities. So here's the urgency. Stop negotiating your peace to protect his comfort. Stop softening your edges just because someone called them intimidating. Stop apologizing for the silence that makes him uncomfortable. The silence isn't rejection, it's reflection. It's his mirror. And what scares him isn't your strength. It's the truth that his emotional growth depends on how he reacts to it. When you stand firm in your calmness, some men will leave. And that's good. Because those are the men who would have only stayed if you kept breaking yourself in small pieces to keep them happy. The men who stay, the ones who learn, adjust, and meet you at your level, those are the ones who can handle the real you. But here's what happens if you ignore this truth. You start believing that love means managing a man's fear. You start feeling guilty for being confident, for speaking clearly, for not reacting. And slowly, you begin to confuse peace with distance and silence with rejection. You start chasing clarity instead of demanding it. And that's when you lose control of your emotional power. You can't save someone from being scared of your light. You can only keep shining so that the right ones recognize it as warmth, not threat. And once you understand that, you'll see fear differently. You'll see that every time a man feels scared around you, it's a sign that your presence carries truth, and not everyone is ready to face truth. That's why your job isn't to make him feel safe, it's to stay authentic. Because real love doesn't grow where fear leads. Real love grows where both people feel safe enough to face that fear together. And that kind of connection doesn't come from chasing, convincing, or fixing. It comes from being patient enough to let fear do what it does best, reveal who's ready and who's not. The truth is, A man's fear isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, it's just the echo of his past, the unhealed parts of him trying to protect his ego from being seen too deeply. But that fear is not your responsibility to carry. You were not sent into his life to prove that you're safe. You were sent to remind him what safety feels like. And it starts with emotional honesty, not control. When you show him that you can love without losing yourself, that you can stay calm when things get chaotic, and that you can walk away with grace instead of anger, you become something unforgettable. You stop being just another chapter in his life. You become the story that changes the way he understands love. Because deep down, every man remembers the woman who didn't chase him, who didn't beg, who didn't fight to be chosen. He remembers the one who held her peace like armor, who valued her energy more than attention, and who knew that silence speaks louder than desperation. That's the kind of presence that doesn't just attract love, it commands it. Because when a woman learns to embody these three behaviors, she stops seeking emotional validation and starts creating emotional gravity. Men may fear it at first, but that's only because they've never felt something so pure, so stable, so unshakable. And once that fear fades, what's left is respect, the deepest kind. You have to remember this. The right man won't fear your independence, he'll celebrate it. He won't test your boundaries, he'll protect them. He won't be threatened by your calmness, he'll be grounded by it. The wrong man will see these behaviors as a challenge to his ego. The right one will see them as a reflection of his own readiness. That's why patience is power, because it filters out the ones who are not ready for your energy before you even have to lift a finger. If you ever find yourself questioning, did I do something wrong? Did I scare him away? Remind yourself of this. Strength doesn't scare the right man. Clarity doesn't confuse the right man. Calmness doesn't push the right man away. Those things only intimidate the ones who are not ready to grow. So don't shrink. Don't doubt the energy that makes you different. You didn't lose him because you were too strong. You lost him because you stopped pretending to be weak. A woman who knows her value is like a mirror. She reflects truth, not fantasy. And most men aren't used to seeing themselves that clearly. Some will turn away because they can't face what they see. But others, the ones who are ready, will look closer. They'll see your peace, your grace, your emotional discipline, and they'll rise to meet it. Because a real man doesn't fear a woman who holds her power. He feels inspired by her. He sees her not as competition, but as a partner, someone who makes him want to become the best version of himself. So let the fearful ones go. Don't chase clarity where confusion lives. Let your calmness be your boundary. Let your independence be your filter. Let your silence do the work your words no longer need to. Because a woman who masters these three behaviors doesn't lose love. She attracts the kind that never needs convincing. Remember, you are not too much. You are exactly as deep as someone's soul needs to be ready for. Your peace, your confidence, and your emotional strength are not flaws to hide. They are the reasons why the right person will choose you without hesitation. You don't have to prove your worth to be loved. You just have to stay aligned with it long enough for the wrong ones to walk away and the right one to arrive. Because one day a man will see all the things others feared. Your strength, your stillness, your boundaries. And instead of being scared, he'll feel safe. He'll see that what others called intimidating is actually peace. He'll see that what others called cold is actually clarity. And he'll finally understand what every scared man before him couldn't, that your power was never meant to control anyone. It was meant to attract the one who could stand beside it. So don't chase, don't explain, don't shrink. Just keep being the woman who makes fear look like growth and growth look like peace. Because once you understand how powerful your energy truly is, you'll never again confuse a man's fear with your failure. You'll smile, stay calm, and keep walking, knowing that real love never runs from your strength. It recognizes it, respects it, and rises to meet it.